Hey everyone, before we get started with today's interview, I have a huge announcement to make. My book, The Super Six, is now in pre-launch. And I guess you're telling yourself, the guy who does indie comic interviews is an indie comic book artist himself. Yeah, go figure, right? Surprise! Anywho, I've been working on this project for close to 3 years now, and as far as production goes, everything is coming to a close. But I still have a lot of work to do in terms of getting the book colored, lettered, and working on a few other things that is still a surprise for you guys. But I'm opening up the door for my pre-launch schedule right now. And what that means is if you go to my website, tobeheroic.com, and sign up for my pre-launch, you will get this free exclusive HD wallpaper. This wallpaper will not be featured in the Indiegogo campaign that's going to be launching, okay? This is the only time you can get this wallpaper. You can use it on your phone, your tablet, computer. You can show it off to your friends, however you care to use it. My artist, Ronell Reyes, put this together for you guys so you guys can get exclusive content. Also, when you sign up for my newsletter, guys, I'm not going to be spamming you, but you will be getting access to early release dates on certain tiers and stretch goals. You will also get a first look at the trailer, first preview looks before the whole campaign even goes live. So you guys will be getting your hands on a lot of stuff before it even goes live. So that's a cool incentive for that right there. If you're not interested in my campaign, well, guess what? If you visit my website, I have books. Yes, I've written books. Surprise. You can actually go on Amazon.com and get a ebook edition of my first book, The Zentown Chronicles, The Gencia Star, for free. That's an entire book, a whole book for free. So if you're looking to kind of finish off your summer reading list with something a little bit different, hey, guess what? Go check out my books. They're all superhero fantasy novels with a touch of mysticism in it. And the best part is that my books also tie in into the story of the Super Six. So it's kind of like you guys getting caught up on my whole story timeline before the newest edition of that story comes out, all right? So again, go to tobeheroic.com, throw in your full name, your email address. Be sure to alert your spam folder, all right? Let it know that my emails are not spam. The moment you hit submit, you will get this HD wallpaper sent directly to your inbox, all right? So I'm really excited to finally be launching this. I've been working on it for a long time now, and it's coming to an end, but I hope you guys do like it. And if you don't like the idea of getting emails from me, well, guess what? Here's a little gift from you. Go get one of my books for free. The first book, of course, because if you like the first book, you'll go get the rest of them, right? Who said that? Anywho, if you don't like it, hey, no money out of your pocket, right? There you go. All right, without further ado, let's get to this interview, guys. Thank you so much. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Indie Choice Picks, and today I'm bringing you guys a little treat. I don't know, I'm always bringing you a treat, but that's my favorite word to say is treat. Anyways, we got a manga based in werewolf lore coming at you. The name of the book is called Void Beast, and it's sadly already ran its course in Indiegogo, did really well, but issue 2 is on its way, and I am speaking with the creator Matthew today about Void Beast. So if you like werewolves, not vampires, but werewolves like I do, then you're going to enjoy this interview. All right, sit back and relax, and let me bring you the creator of Void Beast. Enjoy. Matthew, my man, thank you for coming on to the show, dude. How you doing today?
Good. How about you, brother? How about you?
I'm doing good, man. It's Saturday. I work Monday through Friday, and like the 2 days that we have on a weekend, just not enough time to get the stuff we need to get stuff done, man. Just can't do it.
They got me. I'm not traveling, so I know how you feel.
Oh man, dude, it's insane. Like it's already like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I've been up since 5:30, and it doesn't feel like I've done anything. And I'm like been at this desk, nothing at all. And I'm like, fuck, I still got to run errands. I still got to clean a house. I still got comic book stuff to do. I still got a video to edit. I'm like, man, I just want to sit back and just read the comic books that I got from like past Kickstarter. That's all I want to do. Like,
definitely. I got a couple. I got to read myself.
Yeah, people are like asking me, well, what do you think? I was like, I haven't gotten to it yet, man. You gotta give me some time. I want to get to it, but you gotta give me some time first. So,
Definitely.
Yeah, man. So I started following you on Instagram, and I saw some of your artwork for Void Beast, and I thought it was a pretty interesting concept. So I was looking at your the Dropbox preview that you sent me, and you didn't tell me that you had a werewolf lore going on with this thing.
yeah. that's definitely one of my things. I tell people and I have it out there, but I don't go too deep into it because I'm still getting it myself. And the reason why I came up with it is because I've always liked werewolves.
Yeah.
Werewolves have always been my favorite movie monster. But like I always tell people, they either get just the worst treatment, or they're the vampire lackeys. Like vampires use them as slaves, or
Yeah,
even
like,
if the vampires didn't have them as slaves, they were just like around, and the vampires were beating up on them, and they just all
yeah.
hide, look
That's like
shameful, or they just looking crazy.
That's like a True Blood. I was like, when I was the only reason I watched that show was to see the werewolves, and like turns out the werewolves were the vampires bitches, and I was like, man, you
And
guys
yeah,
could,
that was like, and that was one of the things that I thought about too. I was like, come on, man, not again. Or they just mindless and crazy. So I'm like, okay, let me give a werewolf a brain. He knows how to use it. I'm gonna say he won't have issues later,
uh-huh.
but he thinks he comes from a line of werewolves that think, and they have their issues, but he has the sense to use his powers like he had like somebody that has a brain, not just turning it on. He just run around killing people and stuff like that. Not to say there's not werewolves like that in my stories, but
Uh-huh.
but TJ isn't one of those.
I think it was last week I did an interview with a guy who created a vampire, kind of like Blade, but less Blade-like. But he was a pretty badass vampire, and we got on the subject of would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? And I'm like, yeah, no, a werewolf would be badass because A, you get all the extra abilities that come with being a werewolf. You get the speed, the strength, you get the I wouldn't say immortality, but like prolonged life, because some werewolf
Yeah,
lore, like you live longer than the average human, and
yeah.
you get to die. Like the other guy who actually created the vampire character was like, "No, I want to do a werewolf too, because I'm not a fan of immortality." And I'm like,
Yeah.
That's, "You created this vampire, but you're like, no, I want to be a werewolf instead." And I was like, "No, I don't blame you, dude, because werewolves are just badass. Now, if we could just like grow the claws and have the eyes on command, that would be dope.
Yeah.
You just scare the shit out of people."
Definitely, and that's the route that I went with it, because I was like, I know there's some that do the whole moon thing, the full moon thing. So I'm like, but then I was like, I like the ones that can transform at will. Like
Yeah.
I like that idea. So I was like, I'm gonna run with that, and that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna put my own twist on it and stuff like that. So that's where I went with that.
The last good werewolf show that I watched was Teen Wolf, the reboot on MTV. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that was pretty good. I liked the concept where like they had their status determined the color of their eyes and stuff. Like the alpha were red, betas were yellow, and then like omegas were like orange, stuff like that. And they were able to grow claws. And then they had like a further form where they actually became a werewolf. It was more humanoid than it was like I think season one they had like a full alpha that was just like this towering gargantuan wolf, and I was like, oh, that's dope. And then after that, they just kind of let that die and just had them shift like partially. And I was like, oh, you guys should have went further and just kept the whole uh fully shifting werewolf thing going, because that would have been cool. But that was the last good werewolf show I watched, and I was surprised that they didn't even bring in any kind of like vampires or anything, you know?
Yeah, I get that a lot too. Like I'm at cons and stuff, and even on social media, it's like people are like, uh, where the vampires at? When they coming? I'm like, right. I'm like, I told you, the vampires. Like vampires ain't my thing. Like I like them, and like I've always known, movies, everything, stuff like that. Nosferatu is actually the old one. Is actually one of my favorite vampire movies and
I
stuff.
knew a guy who looked like
Like,
Nosferatu.
yeah, I like the older vampire movies, but I did like that Dracula that came out a couple of years ago.
Is that
I
the
forgot.
Dracula, the Legend Untold one?
I think so. I
With the
think it
dude
was that
from
one.
Lord of the Rings? I think was that the dude from Lord of the Rings? He's
I can't remember.
I
I
think he was
did
like the
like that
bad guy in Fast and the Furious. I think that's the guy. I don't know his name though.
because that had more of to me. That felt more like a Castlevania movie.
Yeah.
Like the way it played out on Dracula's part, it felt like something that would be in Castlevania. So I like that, but it was just like vampires have never really been my thing that I really like focus on as far as movie monsters. So I stuck with the werewolves, and like you were saying, like with the hierarchy in Teen Wolf, that's kind of what I want to do with Boy Beast. It's just that I went with them having different abilities, to where one is strong and some have like the common everyday abilities that people have, the fire, ice sort of thing. But I wanted to have TJ stand out, as in where I did it to where I've always liked the whole, in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," type thing. But I was like, what was in the darkness? And so I made it to where the void beasts are what were in the darkness, and they protected what was in the darkness. So instead of making the darkness and his ability to teleport, create black holes, instead of making that all something bad, I wanted to make it good to where it was like they protected what was in the darkness. What's in there, I can't say yet. I'm still working on that, and I have an idea, but I want to play that out in the books without going out and saying everything. But I want to use that twist on it.
That's cool, man. Now, when I started writing them and I was watching Teen Wolf, I was like, man, that's a really cool concept how they have the whole hierarchy of wolves and you can tell them by their eyes and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I've never seen a superhero werewolf before. And I was like, well, how can you make that into a concept? Someone who can only change, let's say we keep the whole full moon rule, right? You can only change during a full moon. How would that even constitute as being a superhero if you go out and fight crime once a month? Because, that would be like super lame, right? But I kind of took that concept and molded it into something else completely different of werewolves. But I like what you did with Void Beast, and I'm going to share my screen because I actually have your demo open really quick. So give me a second real quick. Let me know when you see my screen.
Okay.
Oh, this is on the bottom now. I wonder why. Got it?
I don't see anything yet.
Is it a black screen right now?
Yeah, it's coming up. There you go.
Okay, cool. So now when I was reading it, I had no idea you went the manga route. So all of this is in black and white. Why did you do that?
Okay, see, here's the thing about it. I was just thinking about this earlier. The reason I went the manga route was because manga bothers me. And I like manga and anime. I love it to death. I grew up on it. I always tell people like that was really I watched the 80s cartoons like Transformers, Cops, stuff like that. Silverhawks, Thundercats. I watched all of that. But when I really started getting into stuff was with like watching Dragon Ball, Ronin Warriors. And I'm talking about Dragon Ball with Kid Goku, not Z.
I didn't get into Dragon Ball until they brought it to the States. I was like, whoa, Goku was a kid? When did this happen?
Yeah, see, I was watching that like early in the morning before I went to school. So I knew about that. I would watch it like at 5, 6 in the morning before I went to school. And I would always follow what was going on. That, Ronin Warriors, and then I think like Samurai Pizza Cats. This was all while I was in middle school.
Samurai Pizza Cats, yeah.
I'm 36 now, so I mean, that's what I was on. And so that's what always stood out for me. And then when I go to a friend's house and we would watch anime and stuff, and then I would get in the manga. So the thing about it was like there were black characters, but they either had the big pink bubblegum lips or they were black like Mr. Popo, and or we had the reason within ourselves. We had to pick a crazy alien person like Piccolo and be like, is he black? I'm gonna claim him as black.
You know what? I just now saw a meme where they were like classifying, like they were having a race draft where like the Dragon Ball Z characters and Piccolo was black, and I was like, yeah, no, he is kind of black. He's like the most rational person in the show.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like we kept getting so many trash people in anime and manga that it was like we had to basically go to the guy from Enemy Mine and say he's black. so it's like we just took it as like, you know what, him and all of them make it into black. It is what it is. I ain't mad at people about that. Like I'm cool with that.
I was like, wow, okay, so like. Because when you watch like anime and stuff like that, like you see like the Japanese, they create characters. They're like non-biased, unlike how they hear in the States. Like in the States, it's like, oh, we gotta have a black dude in this comic book or in this story for diversity reasons. But over in Japan, they're like, no, let's just throw a black dude in there. Why? Reasons, right?
Professional, he look however he want. And so that was my thing. And then so when I started going through manga, I would see different stuff. And I've seen other companies that do manga with black people and stuff like that. And for me, I have a little bit more stronger stance when it comes to things like this. So I don't really get with like, I know what diversity means, but it kind of bothers me. I think it's when it comes to words, they get used for certain reasons to identify certain things. So when I hear like certain manga companies that are made by black people.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties. Please bear with us, audience.
Respect. I'm not.
Sorry, dude. We lost the connection.
Okay.
All right, so let me go back to sharing the screen. You know, Cox cable sucks, man. I need to switch up my internet. Dear God, it's always a problem with this. So, all right, go back to what you were saying. You were talking about black people who own manga companies and stuff like that.
And what I was saying was like I just felt like that a lot of times diversity gets used as a way to kind of like take away from black issues and things like that. So I always tell people I make black manga and stuff about black people for the world. For for everybody, for white people, for black people, for Mexican people, Chinese people, whatever. I make it for everybody. I don't really use the word diversity much. And when it comes to me, but I understand what it means and I understand the importance of it. I mean, I have female Mexican characters, I have Chinese characters, I have all kind of people in it. So I'm not saying, but I don't use it as a word. I use black when it comes to whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that. And a lot of people, and it burns me up when people, they create these characters and they point out, well, my character is black, or my character is trans, or my character is that. It's like, oh, okay, like, is your story good?
Yeah.
I don't care what your characters are. Is your story good? Are they badass? You know, I don't care if your character is black, trans, Mexican, Martian. I don't care. Is your story? Because when people like just make a reference on race, they're trying to make a buck and they virtue signal a lot. But when you actually get your hands on the book and you read it, yeah, your character might be trans, but the story kind of sucks. You need to focus on story versus story and character development, actually, before you start using your character's identity as a way to sell books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. You gotta have a good product behind all of that. And the thing about it is, I'm a firm believer in the people will decide that. Even I could say blickety black, 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 black all day, and I can sell it to black people, and they might buy it straight out the gate because I keep talking about black, 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 black. But if it's terrible, they ain't gonna rock with it.
Exactly.
They may not say nothing. They may not say, well, you know, they'll just not rock with me anymore. They won't talk to me. They'll disappear. They won't support it. They won't share it. They won't buy it or anything. So I can holler that all day if I want to. But if it's not good, it's not good. So I do understand that.
I'm glad that like people like you, because I've had other few black people on the show who think the same. You know, they think basically you make a character if they're black, right? But what's the story like?
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I've had on the show, they take really good pride in character development and story plot points. And that's very, very, I think it's crucial, because when I was looking at your story on Instagram, I was like, that's a pretty cool concept. I wonder what the story's like. And then you sent me the PDF and I was like, this is really good. And you're not virtue signaling or anything, because I didn't even know, like when I saw your character right here, I was like, oh, that's cool. He's black. But I didn't really think he was a black, because when you see African Americans or black people, period, in manga, it doesn't really click like, oh, he's black, you know, because everything's in black and white. But then I saw your cover art up here and I was like, oh, cool, this dude he's black. That's cool. Because I originally thought it was in color. I didn't think it was a manga until I started down. I was like, oh shit, this is a manga. This is cool. Like, you don't see that a lot. And when it comes to original like Japanese manga, like I said, they don't see color overseas. They create a character, they make them look cool, and like Chad, right, from Bleach. That dude is straight up Mexican for sure, right? He got the little sombrero and playing, but like that wasn't used as a plot point to like introduce like Chad, the Mexican guy who can create weird hollow stuff. Like it was just like it was Chad, you know. It wasn't, you know, Mexican. They didn't call Ichigo Japanese or anything like that, you know. And that's the kind of things I like. It's kind of like you bringing together all these people who are from different backgrounds and races, and you're not addressing their race, you're addressing them as individuals, as human beings. And that's what I like to see in stories, you know?
Yeah. And one of the artists I work with that I'm working with right now for Sankara is Nicholas Draper Ivy. And one of the things he said that has stuck with me is like, put it in your story. Like, I talk a lot of mess about a lot of stuff and everything. So I've started putting it. I have a couple other stories that I'm working on, have art coming up for them and everything. And I just figure I put it in my story. Like I have situations where they're talking about certain things and certain issues that they believe, and I just put it in the story. Just put it in the story. If people rock with it, they do. If they don't, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. But my main thing is put that in the story and let the story tell what's going on and stuff. And if people like it, then it'll all come together.
I agree. I always tell people, like, write the story you want to write, not what the people are telling you to write. Because if you listen to the people, you're kind of going to lose your edge over what you're trying to portray in your story. You know, people like, we need more transgender characters. You should put one in your book. Doesn't really flow with me. I don't really have any instances where I would put one in there. But if I do come across an opportunity like that, of course I'm going to put one in there. But, you know, just don't those characters and situations in there for the sake of those characters and situations. You know, just make it a cool story. Like if I threw a transgender in one of my books, I probably wouldn't even mention that they're transgender. I probably like have little hints and clues to it, right? But I wouldn't be like, yeah, such and such is transgender. Praise me because transgenders are in my comics. Like, no.
Yeah,
no,
and
you know?
yeah, and that's my thing with that definitely is I know that I point people towards stories or people that write those type of stories that are better than me. They can tell that story better than me. Like if you want that type of story, I can point you towards somebody that does that, and I read their books and I love what they're doing. That's what they do. They understand that experience. That's something that they can tell and everything. And that's kind of how I take stories, situations like that. Like if it's somebody else that does it better, if they can tell a story about a bi person, a gay person, a trans person, whatever, go over there and I'm gonna support that person for what they do, and I'll help out whatever the case may be. But like you said, I wouldn't force it in there for me because I'm not at the level to tell that story. That's not the story that I'm supposed to be telling. And so I wanted to go back to something else you said, talking about how like Black people supporting stuff. And my thing with that was also that I don't believe Black people deserve more trash. Like just because it's Black, I don't believe that just because it's Black, you should support it and everything. Or these they only making these characters this and that because they want Black folks money. Well, if they put a quality product out and people go and they support it, then hey, I ain't mad at them. It was a fair exchange. Now they may be doing it for money, but if it was quality and people like it, then it is what it is. Now, if you support it and it's trash, then and you making excuses for trash, then I got a problem.
Yeah.
I believe that what I do, I try my best to do the best that I can and keep learning to make the stories better, to evolve the stories, the characters, to make the best souvenirs or whatever swag I can give out, all that type of stuff to make sure I have a quality product, not just, hey, support me because I'm Black. And if you don't, you hate Black people.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that my stuff is product because this is still a business. Yeah. We need to treat it like a business and treat the people that come to us with respect and give them a good quality product.
I agree 100%. And most of the artists that I brought on the show who are Black, like you and me, they say the exact same thing. They're tired of the garbage. They're tired of all the trash that they just keep on. They're virtue signaling again. You know, oh, this character is Black. Oh, okay, this is great. And then whatever medium they're in, whether it's a book, comic book, TV show, movie, it just turns out being garbage. And you're like, no, I'm pretty sure we have indie artists like you and me who create stuff that are better than what they're portraying on media. And I think a lot of the people from all over, right, should support the arts in indie comics because, you know, we are these people who couldn't get published or just decide not to get published with a giant publisher and with indie, you know, and we got these stories to tell that couldn't get past the gatekeeper for some reason, you know, and I think that we spend a lot of time. We work Monday through Friday. Some of us have kids. Some of us have long hours at work, and we come home and put in an extra 2 to 3 every day and weekends to make this stuff happen. And I just think that indie creators should just be have more support in the whole mainstream community.
Definitely. Yeah. See, for me, I agree with that fully. And I would add that I support as many people as I can. And my thing is I always tell people from going to different cons, and I try to go to ones in different states and stuff. I've learned that I've said this recently, like with the whole Little Mermaid thing, and they were talking about like Ariel being Black and stuff and everything. And I felt like we have to it's an uphill battle to really have people care about your characters. Because what we really want, because I'll tell you what, and maybe it's just me, but what we really want is for our characters to be in people's hearts, like the Iron Mans, like the Blades, the Captain America and stuff. That's what we really want. Because with these new characters, with supporting indie characters, they don't know how to feel about the character. Like they don't know if the character's gonna be here next year, next week, if we just putting out stuff to where nobody is just throwing out stuff to where we want to get people's money and then we don't see them again, ever again, or whatever the case may be. And we're working to get our characters in the people's hearts. And that goes back to what I was saying, if it's good and the story was good and everything, that it'll work out all well. So I really think that is the goal, is to get our characters in the people's hearts and stuff like that. And supporting indie characters, I always tell people, it's like, you can support Marvel and everything else, just support indie folks too. If you can share, you can do whatever. But the main thing is me, I really pay attention to the business side of things. But I'm like, you really need to support with your money. Like, when it really comes down to it, you really need to support with your money, because I appreciate the shares. I love the shares and all that stuff, but you need to appreciate with your paper, because that keeps that person going. Like, that keeps them to go into the cons. That keeps it to where you can, like you said, with working long hours and stuff, that gives you, if they're supporting you financially, that lets you know that, hey, I can take a little time off to do X, Y, and Z and put more time into working on my story and stuff and getting what I need to get done with that. So I'm a big proponent of supporting with my dollars and voting with my dollars. And so that's why whenever I can, I'll support other Kickstarters and stuff and all, but mainly was getting the people, like really getting the people to support, love, and cherish our characters and get our characters and everything.
See, I say that too, because like my family, right? They always want, oh, when you going to give me a free copy of your book? I go, never. They go, why? I'm your family. I go, okay, well, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I do books. I put in my time. I deserve to be paid for my time. But the moment Jay-Z drops an album, you first in line, bruh. Jay-Z don't know you. You don't know Jay-Z. You know me.
Definitely.
You know me. And that's the thing. Is it's like, oh, man, we put in so much work only to have people have their hand out. Be like, hey, give me my free copy. I'm like, nah, dude. Like, I put in countless hours over here, man. I got over 100 pages drawn, colored, and reworked. And no, I'm not giving away my work for free. Like, I used to do that all the time, and then I realized that I would give them a free copy, and they wouldn't read it. And I'm like, hey, man, what you think about that comic? Oh, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
You listened to Jay-Z's album right when it came out, bro. What's up? You paid for it.
And here's the thing about with me. And I saw that you're a martial artist as well. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for the past 10 plus years.
All right, right on.
MMA, stuff like that, had fights, jiu-jitsu matches all over the place. So I learned there to not pay attention to people. And other than important people, like if they're important, like coaches and stuff during matches, during fights, I can block out everything else. I can block out who's like when you're doing a fight and you're mounted on a person, they tell you to kick him in the leg. I've learned how to block that out. Like, I'm mounted. You're not saying it. I know how to focus on the voices that are important. So what I'm saying with that is, like, people will do a lot of stuff, and I don't really pay attention to it no more. I pay attention to the guy that I was at DreamCon down in Texas, and there was a guy, he came and bought Void Beast, and he was an EMT. And so he came on a Saturday, and he was telling me, and we talked a little bit, he bought it. Then he came Sunday morning just to tell me that he liked the story and was asking me about the second one, signed up for my mailing list and stuff like that. So that's what I pay attention to.
That's fantastic.
Like I come from being broke, living out in the street, fighting in the street, all kind of wild stuff. So I'm used to bad stuff. It's kind of the good stuff that kind of throws me off and catches me off guard sometimes. So the bad stuff, people talking crazy about or not supporting, I expect that. Like, I expect that. And then when it happens, it's like, whatever. But then when somebody comes and they support and they help out and stuff like that, whether it's what you're doing, and I've watched some of your videos and stuff, and I love what you do.
Thank you.
Whether it's that or somebody paying for it and then coming back and just telling me how much they cared about it, or somebody leaving a post saying they bought it and they talked about it and shared it, that means a lot to me. And I take that to heart. Like, I take that to heart a lot. And so, I mean, I don't worry about that too much. And my family already know you ain't get no free. No, I love y'all. Like, I'll give, but like, maybe my mama and then somebody else. But once we hit to a level, it's like, okay, you either gonna help out or you're gonna keep it rolling. We need to make stuff together.
We need to create some invoices and stuff.
yeah. I'd rather do some work together. If we do work together, we can make some stuff happen. So
right. Yeah. If you could bring me more customers, I tell you what, I'll give you some free stuff for sure. You know, you gotta give before you can take. That's what I say. But yeah, man. I agree with you. And like a lot of people today, they focus on the bad too much in my opinion. And it's kind of hard because in society we're just bombarded by negative stuff. Like, and it's crazy. Like, if you're not watching the news, you hear about something on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, you hear about something on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, you hear about something on Instagram. It's like, dear God, like, it's all bombarded with bad news. What Trump is doing, what's going on with the Democrats, all this other stuff. And you're just like, yo, I don't really care. Just give me show me a picture of a cat rolling around in the outside and being cute. Now, for most people, that is a very difficult paradigm shift to take what's negative, leave it alone, and take one thing about a good day that you had and just kind of roll with that, you know?
Yeah. And that goes back to what I was saying. For me, actually, I'm tamed on my Instagram page. I'm tamed. Like on my Facebook page, I'm just wild. And it's crazy. It's all over the place. And I'm arguing. I'm doing all kind of stuff. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, but the truth of the matter is that I haven't said this much, but I don't care. Like I care about Black people. I care about Black issues and stuff. But I know where to put it at, and I know where to use it and when not to use it, or how it works and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And my thing is with that is like I think I'm a negative person. Like I complain like a lot. I complain about everything. But I always say I complain, but I don't know if I can cuss, but I say I talk shit.
For it. Yeah,
I talk shit more than I complain. And what I mean by that is I don't complain and then just sit around and be like, I ain't gonna do nothing. Like I talk shit and then I'm gonna do something about it.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And this is situations in life. And so like what I was talking about with on Facebook, like I complain about Black issues. I talk about Black issues all the time, but I don't just sit around and not do anything. If there's somebody that's doing a Kickstarter, I try to help out and they genuine with me. If there's a Black local politician that's talking about issues that I believe in and stuff, I try to support and help out and stuff like that. So I don't really believe in the whole just let me talk, let me just share that we got shot down and let's holler and scream and be mad. Like, no, do something about it. If you can not, like I said, not just share it, put some actual tangible evidence behind what you're doing and what you say you believe in. Because if you're not doing that, then everything else you're talking about is a waste of time. So that's how I see it. So I'll talk shit, but I'm gonna try to do what I can about that situation and fix things. So that's how I use that.
I agree with that. I talk my shit on Twitter. Like Instagram, I'm very pop culture like, but if you see my Twitter, dude, it's like walking into a wildfire, dude. There's this shit everywhere with me. Like I kind of don't transfer it over to like Instagram. I just keep those two mediums separate, which is why my follow. For some reason, right, like I talk a lot of shit on Twitter, but I'm a huge advocate of African Americans thinking for themselves. That's my thing. Like don't get all in an uproar because the news told you to, because something else happened in the news. Like do a little thinking for yourself for once, and like don't overreact to certain things at the news, because that's all they want. They just want us to react, go in the street, start marching, stuff like that. I'm a real big advocate for, well, you should probably look into this story, because usually 5 times out of 10 the media just overhypes it too much, and then like a week later it turns out that it wasn't as big as they thought it was. And like the whole Erica Thomas thing, how she was like crying and was like, oh, this dude told me to go back, this white dude in the grocery store. And I was like, I'm gonna wait for this to unfold first. And then it did, and turned out the dude was Cuban and an avid Trump hater. And I'm just like, oh, the media turned it into a big thing when it wasn't really that big. And I'm like, it's like that shit right there just makes me like, oh, dude, you gotta wait, Twitter, because when she launched that video, like within like an hour, it was I stand with Erica Thomas. I was like, stand with her for what? We don't know what happened. Wait. We just saw her crying on Periscope. That's all we did. Like, let's wait for the facts to come out first. Same with Jussie Smollett. Like that. Just like that. It just grinds me so much, man. I'm just like, they're looking for a reaction from the Black community, right? And like this one was very mild, right? Because a lot of Black people, they saw Jussie Smollett, and then that turned out to be fake, and then people are like, we should probably hold our ground till next time and just wait for the facts to come out.
Yeah, I feel like with stuff like that it's been tested, that like, and bringing it back to like comments and things like that. I feel like that situations like that have been tested and they know that it works.
Yes.
These companies and these people wouldn't do it if they didn't know that it works. They know that it works with us because Black people are naturally caring people. Like no matter what nobody try to say, no matter what they talk about, or you guys need to care about this. Black people care about everything. Everything. We have a different way of caring about it, but we care about everything, and especially other Black people, especially in America. And so, like with the Little Mermaid thing, like going back to that and stuff where they switch like roles of characters and James Bond thing and stuff. It's like I feel like these companies know that if they put it out and they put it with a Black person, no matter the gender or whatever, they know that we're going to support it because we've been so starved in the media of like Black roles being like at the top and seeing after like Black Panther and stuff like that. It's been like, oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and throw those characters in there. And so I'm to the point where I agree on both sides. Where I agree on the side that Black folks are being used and it's just for money, and then I agree on the side where we need to see more Black roles and it's cool for everybody else to see it. Yeah. So I don't really argue about it no more. I'm just kind of down the middle, and I can see the points on both sides with that. And the reason why I'm down the middle is because I'm creating my own stuff, and I'm creating it the way I see it and the way I want it to be done. So I still like talking shit. Like I said, don't ever forget, and anybody listening to it, don't ever forget, Nephew Jones loves talking shit, and I'll probably be talking shit later on again. But I'm getting to the point to where it's like, I got my own stuff. I got my own stories that I've proven that I can get out and get to people and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna fight too much. I'm gonna say a little bit and then go on about my
See, I'm a little torn with that. Like the whole Little Mermaid thing is like, okay, up until now, all the remakes have been with the proper ethnicity of the character, you know? And then they just went ahead and made Ariel Black. And I'm like, one side, if she can do the part, great. On the other side, why? Like, are you trying to virtue signal? Or are you trying to set up something? Like, my favorite African-American character will probably have to be Miles Morales. I love that kid because his whole story wasn't based on the fact that he was Black and Puerto Rican. Like, he has a really, like, complex background when it came to his story. And I've been following his comics since 2012 when it first dropped, Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. And, like, not once throughout this whole entire new character development did they mention that he was Black. It's like, yeah, no, clearly we can see that Miles is Black. You don't have to tell us, Marvel. We know. Like, focus on the story. And that's what they did. You know, they focused more on the story between his uncle and himself, and then how he became an Avenger, Secret Wars, and how he met Nick Fury and stuff like that and got a suit. I 100% love that. If you're throwing just characters in there for the sake of, hey, guys, look, Ariel's Black. We made her Black. And you're looking to see if people...
wait a minute.
Hang on. Well, go back.
We would have took a live-action Princess and the Frog if you wanted to give us that.
Word, right? Like, yo, you could have skipped over Little Mermaid because I didn't watch that, but I did watch Princess and the Frog. You can make that first. You can totally make that first, but, you know, to me, that was virtue signaling. Like, you didn't have to make Ariel Black. If you wanted to make a Black character, you should have just hopped over that and went straight for Tiana and Princess and the Frog.
I would have liked to see that. That's what I would like.
Would have loved to have seen that. Like, I saw memes going around. They're like, "Oh, you want to make Ariel Black, right?" And then they put like Princess Tiana, the white woman, and shit blew up on Twitter. Oh my God, shit blew up. And I was just like, I'm over here like, no, that's a good idea because it's a double standard. You go one way, it's okay, but if you go the other way, it's like, oh, you're a racist. And I'm like, no, like, if you're gonna go one way, then it stands to reason that you can go the other way.
They better leave Tiana alone. They better leave Tiana alone.
I don't know who did it, but I was like, okay, let's see how this reacts, right?
Oh man, man.
Let me get my questions out of the way. We're kind of going over time here, but
no problem.
Tell me a little bit more about your story here. So this kid can phase into a werewolf at will. What is the whole premise and the concept here with the story?
Okay. So the premise of the story is that there were young girls going missing in the city that he was in, and he wanted to go. Him and his father were going around seeing what was going on. It's like after a large war, and the idea, and I'm planning on writing something about this. But the idea was that after a large war, the government had to start asking mythological beings, "Hey, we need help." So werewolves were one of the ones that joined in, and they didn't get the best hand because they always the lackeys. So TJ, after this, there's zombies and stuff. There's all kind of
Werewolf lives matter.
Yeah, werewolf. Oh, I'm about to do that. Werewolf lives matter. I have to give you some credit too, bro.
WLM.
but so they're trying to figure out what's going on. TJ finds out what's happening, and he just goes down this rabbit hole. So he has these abilities to where he can control dark matter. He can teleport. He can create black holes and stuff. The thing about it is that it's only his lineage that has those powers. Some, other people can have different abilities, but this is a family thing. It's not a thing where it could be taken unless you have an ability to do something like that.
So is his family like the alpha pack of the whole werewolf race, like the king, the royalty or something?
Yes, there's something like that, but they're also feared because they came out of that darkness. So people don't know a lot about the void beasts, and that's where TJ comes in, to where he loses his father. I don't mind saying this is the first couple of pages. He loses his father, and his father's supposed to teach him how to use his powers, and they're starting to develop more. So he has to learn how to do all of that on top of not having somebody to train him, and he has to figure out what's going on. On top of that, the guy that's behind everything knows about this, and he is coming to take TJ's powers. So he has to figure out how to use his abilities before the guy that can take his powers comes to take them.
Okay, now that's unique. I like that's the whole concept. Like, you don't really know how TJ and his family are able to do these things, but at the same time, like, there's a bigger plot unveiling. It seems like you kind of tied all your knots up with this story.
And that was the thing. I didn't want to give out like too much about like, hey, TJ them can do X, Y, and Z. And maybe I should have, but I'm working on it with some other stuff. But through the story, through the second one that we're working on, we're explaining more, we're saying more, and I want people to grow with TJ as he learns his. My whole goal is to have people grow with TJ as he learns his powers as well. That was the thinking. Like, I didn't want to just tell you outright. I wanted you guys to see and grow with him, because he's learning all of this as he goes too. It's not like he knows everything. Also, he's asking people because his father kind of stepped away from some things and didn't explain everything to him. So just like you're learning, TJ is learning as well.
That's cool. I like that. Now, who does all your art? Are you the writer and the artist, or do you have a team working with you?
I am the artist. I mean, not the artist. Woo, let me stop that. I give you stick figures in a circle if you want that. But I am the writer, and I have for Void Beast, I'm the writer, and I have a co-writer and an artist and two artists that I work with for that. And the artist is Francis Martellano. He works on hot dog prints. It's the story that they have over at Noir Caesar.
Okay.
He has and he works on that and a couple other stories. And then Andy Nilo he does the shading. And then my co-author is Stephanie Cooklish. She helped me sort out what was in my brains and stuff like that, and edit out some stuff and everything, because I had stuff all over the place. So yeah, that I have a team for Void Beast. We have a whole team for that one.
That's cool, man. So your first book was about 100 and something pages?
Yeah, it was 100 pages, because the thing, Void Beast started out as short stories. They were just ebooks and no pictures or anything. And then so what I did was, for the mangas, was I separated the books into two. So the first two books are this first volume, and then the second two books are the second volume. And so there's some stuff that I always tell people, if you want the full story, there's some stuff that we took out. They're in the ebooks that I have on Amazon and stuff, along with the other Void Beast books, and they're in there. There's some things that we had to take out because it was just too much. So that's the route I went with that. Got
you. Okay, man. I'm really digging it. I haven't finished reading it yet, so we're gonna end it right here. I want to finish reading it first, because you got me at his dad. Oh no, I think I went a little bit further. When he caught up with the chick and he was fighting her, and he was about to he had this scene right here. He caught up with the girl, and then he shifted, and they were fighting, and then she shot him in the arm. And he was like, my arm. I'm like, man, I would have whacked that bitch so fast.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like TJ, like his dad did what he could with him about like fighting and stuff like that. But TJ is still learning it himself. He's still learning these abilities. He's still, when it comes to fighting and stuff, it's like, because in Like I said, you a martial artist like me. You've come across some short people that have put some work on you.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, the motherfuckers are
I know
fast.
I'm 6'4", 220 pounds. I know people that are 5'6", 145 pounds that I can't do nothing with. So I definitely wanted to add. I like to add those little nods in there, even in that situation and stuff. And so that's what I was doing with that.
That's cool, man. So, yeah, dude, don't tell me anymore. I want to kind of read through this now. Are you gonna have a sequel to this?
Oh yeah, yes. We're working on a sequel now. We're already like about 15, 20 pages maybe in or so, on top of some other stuff we're working on. So we're rolling on that, and I'm editing and finishing up part 3 and stuff, and switching around some story stuff for part 3 because I introduced some new characters and everything in 3. So yeah. We're already rolling on that.
All right, man. Sounds good, dude. So I'm gonna finish reading this and give you, when I'm done, give you a shout out on Instagram. Are you on Twitter?
Yeah. It's under Akachi Jones, same as my Instagram handle and stuff. I'm just not as active on Twitter because I don't mind talking shit, but Twitter is a whole different level of the shit talking that I.
Yeah, no, it's like on Twitter now. Ever since that whole Carlos Mazza thing, dude, it's been like a blocking party. How many people blocked you today? Oh no! And I'm like, man,
So,
can't say shit without someone reporting your ass for no reason. Like, no, it wasn't a homophobic tweet. It was a joke, guys. Ha ha ha! One of those things you go point and laugh at. Like, get the fuck out. That's what it is. Look,
so on Twitter, I just do a little bit on Twitter.
Yeah, I do a little bit on Instagram, but I'm trying to. I used to do a lot on Instagram, and then I just gravitated more towards Twitter. And now I'm trying to gravitate more towards back Instagram, but. Dude, that just takes up too much time. Like throughout your days, it's so time consuming. Every time you pick up your phone to check the weather, and somehow you click the Twitter tab, and you're like, "Whoa, an hour's gone by. I was checking the weather."
I've been reading everything. What in the world? How do I know what's going on in Indonesia right now?
Yeah, no, I just
over there.
I wanted to see how hot it was going to be in Vegas. That's all I wanted to know. And I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, you're using it for business also. So it definitely happens. It happens for sure.
I think when I get the money, I'm just gonna hire a social media guy, dude. Just do all my tweets because I'm tired of social media. Just don't say any crazy shit because it comes back to me. Just get over there and tweet it out. So real quick, is your name Matthew or Akil?
It's Matthew.
Okay. Because I saw your Instagram. I was like, oh, I hope I didn't call him the wrong name because I see Matthew's iPhone on your Zoom tag. I was like, oh, okay. I think I got it right. I hope I got it right.
It's Matthew Jones.
For sure, man. Well, Matthew, man, thank you for coming on the show, man. I really had a great time talking to you, man. It was fun.
No problem. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
When you do your sequels or anything else, dude, let me know. We're trying to get as many people onto the show twice, 3 times. I got another boy who I interviewed for the first time who's coming on the show again pretty soon with something brand new, dealing with what did he call it? Some rodents or something like that. But it's kind of like Biker Mice from Mars, just more bad. Yeah.
Oh man.
Capybaras. They're capybaras. There you go. Big ass.
Oh, that sounds cool. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I can't wait to have him on the show because I've been seeing his work on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, so you went from demons, you went from pregnant Mexican women being Avengers in like the West, and now you're doing capybaras. We gotta talk, buddy, because I'm really curious.
I like it. I like the sound of all of that. Throw it out there, man. Let the people decide.
His name is Gilly, Gilbert Deltrath. You can find him on Twitter. He did Layer, which is basically kind of like a demon supernatural horror kind of thing going on. And then he did Pistoletta, which is basically about a pregnant woman who has gone on an avenging raid in the West, and she's pregnant and she's killing fools and stuff like that. So
I love it.
He's a really cool dude, man. So when I get those in my mail, I think I got some digital copies. I'll slide it your way so you can check them out.
Oh, most definitely. I appreciate that.
For sure, man. Well, I will see you on Instagram as much as I can, but you take care, buddy, all right?
For sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. And that is it for this episode of Indie Choice Picks. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you. Please subscribe and like this video, and of course share it because we all have to support our indie creators. We do work hard for your enjoyment, all right? If you are an indie creator and you want to come on the show, all you got to do is find me on Twitter at Will at Heroic Studios. That's AT, not the at symbol. Will AT Heroic Studios on Instagram and on Twitter, actually. And just send me a message if you guys are running a campaign or a webcomic or you're in the development of a new project. I don't care. Just let me know. If you're part of Comic Gates, if you're not a part of Comic Gates, whatever. If you're a comic book artist in general, let me know because I would love to talk to you and get you on the show, okay? Well, guys, that is it. That's all the time we have for today. And also, one more thing, if you guys want to check out my new show, I'm doing a new thing with one of my buddies called Nerd Power Hour, where we just discuss everything that's nerd reference and pop culture for like an hour. It's really fun. So episode 1 is on my YouTube channel, so check that out when you guys get a chance. All right, man, I will see you guys next week with another episode of Indie Choice Picks. See you later.